The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hello folks, today on Aging Horizons we're going to be talking about something pretty important, and it's called RAM, a reverse annuity mortgage. Very, very important information. If you own a home, it's one of the biggest purchases you've ever made and one of your biggest assets. Use it, or at least find out how you can use those assets if you want or need to. We have a great guest joining us today, so stay tuned.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting. But it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
Summer in Montana is a great time to visit your local farmers market. Enjoy the social atmosphere while shopping for a wide variety of fresh, locally grown produce. Together with both WIC and Senior Farmers Market nutrition programs, you help feed your family 5 or more daily servings of fruits and vegetables for better health. You also help local ag producers and enhance the state's economy. So, for summer fun that's nutritious and helps Montana's economy, shop at your local farmers market.
I'm Attorney General Tim Fox. Nowadays, all of you have to worry about cybersecurity. Something as simple as visiting pirate websites can put your computer at risk. Hackers use pirate websites to infect your computer and steal your ID and financial information, or even take over your computer camera without you knowing it. Don't let hackers into your house. Be careful with the websites you visit and warn your kids on how to stay safe online. To learn more, visit my website.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimi Everman, and as I said in our open, we have a big show today, talking to you about one of your biggest assets, your home. And we have a very special guest with us, Rena Oliphant. And you're from the Montana Board of Housing, and you work very, very closely with what is called the RAM program.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So tell us what RAM means.
Well, RAM is our reverse annuity mortgage. It is a loan. Okay. But it is not the conventional loan like you go to a bank and you borrow money and then you have to make a payment back each month. What we do is we take equity in your home and we convert that to paying you a payment each month. Wow. And it goes for 10 years. We do put a lien on your home, but you own your home. You still own your home. It's still your home. It's no different than a bank putting a lien, but you only pay interest on the money you get. You're not paying interest on that large sum.
Now let's back up just for a second and explain what a lien is, because people get scared of words like that when we don't know what they are. What does it mean to have a lien against your home?
What that just means is that you have borrowed money.
Okay.
And for borrowing that money, your home is the collateral.
Sure.
To be able to ensure that at some point we get paid back for the money that you have borrowed.
So it's just a little heads up. Hey,
little heads up.
We borrowed this money, and so the first person we pay back when we don't have the money or need the money anymore is the RAM loan.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
Gotcha. And so who really benefits from a RAM loan?
Well, you need to be 68 or older.
Okay.
And mostly the population that benefits is going to be more of your people that maybe have lived in this home for 10, 20, 30 years or more. Most of the time they're generally paid off completely, but now they're struggling. they're struggling to live maybe just on Social Security or maybe a small pension to add it to that, but it's just not enough.
Right.
And they're sitting on this home that they have this large equity in, and so they can, instead of going to a bank and borrowing a large sum of money and then they're having to pay payments or interest rates or just things that just aren't working out for them, they can come to us and we will pay them for each month. And
it's their money.
It's their money.
Right? Because they paid that money for their home.
Correct. And what they do is we tell them they can have X amount of money, but it's like a pot of money.
Okay.
And then each month we will take that monthly payment out of that pot and we will pay them. So they're only going to be paying interest on the money they're getting.
I see.
So let's say the $150,000 is the largest amount that we will go up to.
Okay. So in terms of a RAM loan, the most a person could possibly get would be $150,000, and that has all kinds of eligibility criteria. Not everybody gets that.
Correct.
We're just going to...
That's the most.
Okay, but that's the most. Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
So it's like a pot of money that we set aside for them.
Right.
And then each month we'll take a payment out and give to them.
Okay.
So they're not paying interest on that large pot of money. They're only paying interest on the money they actually receive. If you went to the bank and borrowed that $150,000, you're going to pay mostly interest on that money.
Yeah.
And for us, you're only paying it as you get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there is some criteria regarding living in the home and that kind of thing. What
Correct.
about that?
Correct. It is for people that are living in the home.
Okay.
Everybody in the home does need to be 68.
Okay.
And so if you have a spouse or significant other, you would both be part of it. But you both have to be 68, and there are income limits.
Okay.
There's only a certain amount that the household can make.
Okay.
Based on a 1-person or 2-person or 3-person.
Okay.
Those are posted on our website.
Okay.
And then also you have to have your home pretty much paid off. You don't have to have it completely paid off, but if your home is appraised at $200,000,
Sure.
then we will loan you up to 80%
Okay.
of that 200, but not over the 150.
Right.
So and then if you do have a additional mortgage on that loan, if it's too large for us to pay off and then you get money, it probably would not qualify. If you have a small amount still owed on it, or you took a little bit of money out on it, we can usually work with that.
Well, and Rena, I say this about lots of our programs, and I'm going to ask about the RAM. Just apply.
Exactly.
The worst thing that can happen is you won't be eligible.
Exactly.
Would that be correct?
100%.
Okay.
We will take a
My
look
theory
Yep.
continues to be
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
They're not going to take your birthday away.
No, exactly. And we're not going to make the process difficult. You will work with a counselor, and they will help you fill out everything. They will go over everything for you. You'll sit there one-on-one with them, and then they'll send everything to us, and then we'll take a look.
And I guess one of the biggest questions that I have that I bet you hear all the time is, but you're going to take my house away.
No.
Right?
Exactly.
Another thing that we often say is that the state of Montana is not in the business of taking people's houses. We want people
Exactly.
to be successful.
Exactly. And the thing about that is you get those payments for 10 years. The amount of money you borrow is split up over 10 years. If you're still 10 years and you're still going strong and everything's going good, nothing changes. You don't have to worry about paying that money back. We can go into those details, but we do not want people's homes.
Right.
We
Exactly. And folks, don't mean to be flip, but we hear that all the time and recognize how very frightening that can feel to a person. That is not what we're talking about here. We are talking about using your asset, your biggest asset. We have a whole lot more to tell you. Please don't go anywhere. We want you to hear it all.
I
think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Questions about Medicare and other types of insurance? Contact the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office to get answers to questions like, what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid, and how do you decide if you need Medicare supplemental insurance? This insurance counseling program is not a sales program. It is available to provide answers to your insurance questions. For more information, call the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office at 1-800-332-2272.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here talking with Rena Oliphant about reverse annuity mortgages today. Very, very important subject. Rena, always great to have you.
Thank you.
So glad you're here.
Thank you.
Because this is kind of, it's not that bad, but it's a little confusing until you have the details from someone like yourself who really knows the program and who really loves the program as you do. So let's talk, let's get real clear. What is this reverse annuity mortgage?
Well, again, it's using the equity that you may have built up over the years of your home. We will set up an appraisal.
Okay.
So your home will be appraised.
Okay.
We will pay for that appraisal.
Okay.
And if you end up going with the loan and closing the loan, we will put that into the loan, but you don't have to worry about coming up with any out-of-pocket money.
So before you walk into that closing table, you don't have to have dollars to put down.
You don't have to have any money.
Great.
We will pay upfront for the appraisal. We will pay for upfront for the closing. They will be added into the loan, taken out. If we appraise the home and find out that this isn't going to work, you don't have to worry about paying that appraisal back. So you're really
now that's
not.
Good news.
Exactly. You're really not in danger of having to lose any kind of money.
Right.
Now, we're not going to do the appraisal, obviously, if we don't have a good feeling.
Right.
But
right.
But what it is that it just it helps you be able to stay in your home. We've had many, many people that say, "Oh my God, I thought I was going to have to move because I just couldn't afford to stay here anymore."
Right.
And this helps them stay in their home.
Well, and let's talk about I love the lump sum part at closing. Talk about that a little bit.
In this loan, let's say you decide that you want to do the $150 because your home appraises for that. You can, at closing, have a $10,000 lump sum paid to you. And then after that, the monthly payments would go on. That $10,000 is you can use it for whatever. You want to take a vacation to Rio, take a vacation to Rio.
Right.
You know, enjoy it. If you want to fix something up in the home that you've always wanted to add or do new furniture,
right.
$10,000 if you want to.
Right, right.
If there's some reason that maybe there's some more things that needs to be done, maybe we need to pay off a little bit of the mortgage, if we need to do something to make the home valuable, we can take a look at upping that lump sum. Those are processes, but the $10,000 you can have for whatever reason.
I just love that piece of this program. In like you said, so many times there's a project, a home maintenance project that needs to get completed that would be very expensive and probably impossible for a person to do without something like that.
Correct.
So that's just great.
It is. It does reduce your monthly payments.
Well, yeah.
Because you're getting it up front.
Sure, yeah.
Some people don't want it at all. They want the higher monthly payments. Right. But again, that's an option that we can talk about with you as we walk you through the process in each step.
And speaking of walking through the process, you have counselors that do that, and the Board of Housing partners with the Aging Office about that,
Yes,
don't they?
We do. We partner with Aging Services. Aging Services does a great job in providing lots of training for people out there, and one of the trainings that they let us do is train them to be the counselors to help us with this RAM loan.
So the local counselors that do our SHIP and our INA may also be able to do a RAM counseling for a person, or reverse annuity mortgage
and they're all
counseling.
over the state.
Great.
They're all over the state. So you don't have to worry about, well, how do I get to Helena, since we are in Helena, if I live in Sidney, Montana. No, we have counselors all over the state that are just as passionate, about all these programs, and that you can go sit down and work with them, and then they'll send it to us, and then we will work with you.
Yeah, but it's a way of breaking the ice, so to speak, with that local person. And
they'll help fill out paperwork and know exactly what they need to send to us, so you're not struggling with it.
That's very important to mention, that I doubt you need volumes, but you'll need some things, and it's nice to have that all pulled together. As a consumer, I always feel better when I have that stuff pulled together. And if you meet a RAM counselor, they can help you with that.
Exactly. They will help go over with you. We'll need proof of what your income is. We'll need some kind of proof that you own your home. Those types of things, but they will walk you through every step of the way. They will prepare you for everything. If you have questions, they're there to answer them. You sit down right there with them, and then once everything's put together, then they send it to us, and they know what we need, so when we get your application and packet, we're usually able to hit the ground running.
Right. Now, Rita, I want to just very briefly, before we end this segment, talk about Montana's homegrown program, because these are different than what we see on TV. Can you just tell a little bit about the difference?
Definitely. There's a big difference. Our program, we do not have any charges for us to do this service. There's only two different things that you will be charged for. One is the appraisal. We have been able to build some very good relationships with some of the appraisal people around town, and they've been willing to work with us
on
maybe a little bit lower cost of the appraisal.
Sure.
And then, but whatever they charge, that's what we will charge or put into your loan. And then when we go to closing, the title company, of course, there's going to be all the same things that go along with a loan with housing. There's title policies and title searches and
just like
closing.
When you bought the home.
Exactly. But generally speaking, I can tell you, all of that total, the appraisal and title companies, is almost always under $2,000, and that's all you will be charged.
And that is a bargain. When I haven't bought a house real recently, but 20 years ago, and it was certainly more than $2,000 in costs like that, Rena. This is you know what? Okay, we're gonna keep the other side of this for the next segment. We're gonna make people come back, because that was such a great explanation. Don't leave us, folks. We have a lot more.
I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1992, and I went into denial. It made me angry. I was a professional chef, and I didn't want to change my eating style. It took me a long time to get serious about managing my health. My perspective changed from resentment to one of loving my body, the container for my spirit. Getting help from my diabetes educator supported my goals of improved self-care. I want to feel good and have a great life. My diabetes educator helps me do this.
Good care is your right. In Montana, there's over 11,000 beds in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. If you or a family member needs assistance or help in obtaining information about care issues and placement options, call 1-800-332-2272. If you or a family member need information about Montana's long-term care resident rights, or if you need help solving a problem or a complaint about a nursing home or an assisted living facility, call us at 800-332-2272.
If you give or receive care, you already know that it can cause stress on caregiver and receiver alike. The good news is, if you have limited resources, help is available. The Montana Lifespan Respite Program may be able to help you pay for care while you take a break. Even better news is how easy it is to apply. You can get an application online or have one sent to you. We'll get back to you within 5 working days. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
If the Aging Network in Montana was a restaurant, the sign out front would say, over 50 million meals served over the last 30 years. Since adequate nutrition is critical to health and quality of life, nutrition services are an important factor in keeping older Montanans healthy, independent, and living in their community and home. To find out more about senior nutrition programs in your area, call 1-800-551-3191.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here talking about reverse annuity mortgages today. I've learned so much, and there's still more to learn. We're here with Rena Oliphant. Rena, always glad to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we before we left the last segment, we were talking about our Montana homegrown RAM program, which is awesome, versus the standard ones that may be out there that you may get things in the mail about, or you may see things online or on television. We're not saying one or the other, we're saying know the difference.
Correct.
Tell us the difference of these other ones.
You're right. There are some very legitimate ones out there that maybe that has put people to hear about the loans, the reverse mortgage loans. The difference that we have compared to them is they are for profit. They are there to make money from doing this loan with you. That's what they want to do. And you know that's
what that's our country.
That's our country.
That's capitalism.
That's country, and it's going to cost more money and everything, but that's what they need.
Right.
For this Montana one, the money that we charge the interest for is put back into the pool of money for us to continue loaning out.
Sure.
We don't make a profit on this. Again, we don't charge for our services. We don't add money to any of the charges that are out there. You'll pay for appraisal, you'll pay for closing, period. That's it. The interest is just to ensure that we are able to continue to build this pot of money to continue to loan it out.
Right. Because we want this really wonderful program to continue.
Exactly.
You know, as I was telling you off camera, I've worked with a number of your colleagues over the years, and every single one, including yourself, have considered this a labor of love.
Oh,
because it's such a great program. And, you know, I myself, coming towards retirement, feel awfully glad that I might have this option.
Sure.
Because my biggest asset is my home.
Correct.
Right?
And it's also your choice.
Right.
It is not something, again, you will be walked through every step of the way, starting with our wonderful counselors out there, and then when we start working with you, we will walk you through every step of the way. We will talk to you about how it all is going and how it's working. You are in control of every step of the way. If you get to a point that you say, you know what, I decide maybe this isn't going to work for me, that is fine. You will get no pressure from us. Take as long as you want to make decisions. And make sure it is going to be a fit. It is not a fit for everyone. It truly may not work for everyone. But we will help you and walk you through so that you can decide if it is a fit for yourself.
And I think the Montana program is so very responsible in that, like your 80% rate, that's keeping that homeowner safe against some terrible thing happening to the value of their home.
And we do get people that they are concerned about borrowing on this home or using the home. And so that is why we do make sure that at 80% of the value of your home, you have that cushion there.
Yes.
You definitely, you know, are not going to take out all that money.
Yes.
With the hope that as time goes on, your house will continue to appreciate.
Right.
We talked a little about that the payments go for up to 10 years.
Right.
But after that 10 years, you will not be getting any more payments, but nothing changes, nothing happens. It's still your home, you still own the home, the loan does not become due. The time that actually that loan does become due is when all parties that were living in the home, husband, wife, or single person, however that may be, when they are no longer living in the home on a permanent basis. That could be they decide they're going to go live with a family member, they're going to go live in a small, they're going to downsize, pass away. Whatever the case may be, when they are no longer permanently living in the home, if one spouse passes away, the other spouse still can continue to go, but when everybody out of the house is not living, then we start working with generally either the estate or family members or the person that's moving out. We'll work with them on how they're going to pay the loan back. Most of the time, the house is sold and proceeds are paid for us. By keeping it so that we have not overextended them, there's usually money left over for whatever may need to be if they sell the home.
And I really hope that, because what you've explained makes it crystal clear to me, you are not trying to take a home. No. You are trying to keep a person in that home as long as possible, and then at the end, when they no longer need that home and they're not on this earth, then you're going to look at how do we get repaid, but it is not taking their home while they are alive or anybody that lives there.
Exactly. And even for if it comes down to that that it's an estate that we are dealing with, and normally that's the family members, we work with them also. We give them time to decide, are you going to sell the home, or is somebody in the family going to try to get a loan to keep the home and pay us back? There's lots of options. We'll work with them. Of course, there's not an unlimited amount of time.
No, but it sounds like you're willing to look at individual situations and work with them the best you can, which I've always heard about this program.
And most of the time, exactly. And most of the time, like we say, even when they do decide to sell the home, there's still generally pretty good size of money left over even after they pay us. Our interest rates are not killer interest rates, and the family usually is appreciative.
You know, I just think this has been the best information, Rena. Thank you so very much for coming on today. And I did want to end with exactly what you did. You're not taking people's homes. And we harp on it. We don't mean to, but it's so important for people to understand. Okay, before we go, how do we get a hold of you? We want to know how to do this.
Well, again, I work with the Montana Board of Housing. We are part of the Commerce Department for the state of Montana.
Can we put your phone number up on the screen?
Please do.
Okay, we're going to do that.
Please do.
And we can have them call the area agencies as well if they're wondering, right?
They certainly can.
Okay, so we'll
put that up.
They
can go to our website. They can find different counselors. They can find our website. Lots of different options. There's lots of people out there that want to help and love the program as much as I do.
Well, and we'll all that information's up on the screen so folks can write that down. Rena, thank you so much for the job that you're doing. This is a great program.
Thank you.
And so happy to have it.
Glad to get it out there.
Yep. And folks, thanks for being with us today, and be back next time for Aging Horizons.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.